Hi, welcome back to the garden. And today's show is kind of a repeat. Apparently, in December, I had done a show on the number 2, and I gave it the same name as the show I did in this format of the numbers. And someone noticed and said, that's not the same as the ones you've been doing. So I've gone back, and so this is 2 the second time around. And I'm going to go through it the same way, starting with angel numbers and going into the astrologic house and some other things. So I hope you'll think, didn't we already do 2? This is kind of out of order because this one's going to be run right after 8. 8, yes. But I want to show you something that I got from Ursula O'Farrell, and I want to put this so it's the right way up. Okay. Like this. Isn't this cool? And what this is a place, it's a grid place for you to put, this is a solar return birthday wheel. And it has 13 rose Swarovski, I've never been able to say, those crystals that start with SW. Place your 12 favorite crystals on each zodiac wheel to support you this year. A shadow box frame is recommended to be put around it. There's no need to glue the crystals in place if it's going to be flat. And she wanted to know how I would play with this because I did a chart, I did a grid for Ursula. I'm going to put Ursula's name and phone number. So if you see this and this intrigues you, you can go for it. But this really helps me because when I'm talking about the zodiac, okay, Aries, okay, this is all backwards from where my fingers think they ought to be. This is Aries, and this is where Aries goes this way across is the bottom half of the zodiac wheel. That's 1 through 6. We've done 7, 8. 8 we're going to do, 8 we did yesterday. We're going to do 9, and then 10 matches. There's a 10 in the tarot. I'm going to throw in 11 and 12, those 2 nice numbers, Aquarius and Pisces, because we started with the wheel. But you can see it. It's kind of, if you don't have a zodiac wheel, this is beautiful. This is hand painted, hand done. She's an artist who does this kind of work. And thank you so much, Ursula. And I will put her name and information in the slot below. I've gotten a couple of nice gifts from people. I got some people have mailed me crystals and they didn't put their name in the bag. So I just want to let you know I did get them and they are gorgeous crystals. I have no idea who sent them to me. I know in one case I figured it out because she'd sent me a quick note saying I'm going to send you some crystals. So I assumed those were hers. Anyway, the number 2. 2 is in the angel numbers is everything is fine and will continue to be so. Keep believing, especially since your feelings of hope lead to more positive outcomes. Angels can buoy up your faith if you will only ask for their help. So that's the number 2. So it's to buoy yourself up. 2 in the zodiac is the second house. And the second house is known for the first house is I am, Aries. The second one is I have. And so this second house is your self-worth, material possessions, where you spend and where you trust putting your money. And it is in the sign of Taurus, double, which the zodiac sign is that. If you can get out where you can see stars, I don't live in a place where that's really possible, too much ambient light. But if you can see stars, that's what the constellation looks like. And it goes, the energy around you shows an abundance of nature. It's rich, earthy, productive, stay relaxed and slow. And so that's kind of the Taurian energy. It's patience, it's grounded. It's also very sensual. We love food, which I can tell you is not a part of my life that I like dealing with, although I'm going to do another thing soon on my weight loss because it's continuing to go down despite being in COVID lockdown. We'll talk about that later. But the ruling planet over the sign of Taurus, the second sign and the second house, is it's the part of you that desires beauty, success, indulgent, and valuables. And that's the Venus energy. And, you know, Venus is things you value. It's not just sensuality. It's not just romantic love and sex and all the things that people normally acquaint with her, but it's also any form of sensual feelings that you could possibly have. Now, 2 in sacred geometry is polarity. It's the black and the white. It's the earth and the sky, the seen and the unseen, the yin and the yang. There's always, in almost every faith system, there's a polarity, and they don't always fight with each other, but they bring each other a balance. And that's what 2 comes to in sacred geometry. So when I use 2 crystals in a grid, sometimes the energy will be there to balance out the other one. And sometimes it's there to create a tension so that the crystals, the energy within the crystals actually moves. It's 2 is a very interesting balance number. 2 in the tarot, and this is what I know the best, is the High Priestess. Look at her. She's got black pillar on one side, white pillar on the other. She's balanced. What in the tarot, you have the Fool first, who's a 0, and that's just when we're kind of just a zygote, not really here. Then you have the Magician, where we take on our earthly power and we begin to understand it. Then you get to the High Priestess, and she's our conscience. She's when we developed our mental awareness, our conscience. And that's what she stands. She stands on the moon. She seeks balance. Some people say she's holding the scrolls of the Torah in her lap. Other people just say any holy writings that teach us how to better deal with our conscience. That's the High Priestess. Then the 2 of Cups is usually a couple facing each other or 2 people striking a bargain. That's really what it's about. And it's in this one, they're very calm, and sometimes they're full figured. This one's, you can see their faces. It doesn't necessarily mean love. It means sometimes just 2 people coming to an agreement, to an association, to an understanding, a deep understanding. 2 in Swords is, which way do I go? It's the mind and the body at war with each other. So your mind says go one way, your heart says go another. You have to decide which way you're going to go. And until you make a clear decision, and once again, you see that moon reflected in the sky here again, it's got a lot to do with emotions and a lot to do with your mental state, as well as your physical state, as well as all the ego problems that sometimes get in the way of telling us where we should go. So it's kind of, you're at a crossroads and you have to make a decision. 2 in Coins is balancing. Like I said, 2 is Venus in Taurus. It means values. In the 2 of Coins, 2 of Pentacles, it means balancing your finances, keeping them going. If he's reversed, sometimes we get him in a reading. Depending on the cards around him, it could mean that your finances are really out of balance or that you're having trouble getting a hold of them. But it means seeking a balance, coming to an accommodation, bringing 2 different elements into balance, into an agreement again. And then you have the 2 of Wands, and the 2 of Wands is someone who has an idea. In a lot of places, this guy looks like he's just handling just a white globe, almost looks like a giant snowball. But what he's really holding in a lot of the depictions of this is the world. He's deciding how to go out into that world, how to accommodate in that world, how to bring himself forth in that world, what agreements to strike with that world to manifest and bring things in. So that's the 2 of Wands. And wands mean new endeavors. So that's kind of where 2 sits in the tarot. Just like the other things, it's how we spend our money, what we possess, what we choose to possess, and how we come to terms with things. Now, in numerology, 2 means gentle, harmonious duality. If one is a more assertive number, 2 is a more feminine number. It means balance. It means bringing those things together. In numerology, the letters of the alphabet that are related to 2 are B, K, and T. So if you have B, Ks, and Ts in your names, you've got 2s in your numerology chart. And then the last thing we're going to talk about, which I do when I do each one of the numbers, is it's the life path crystal for 2 is howlite. And howlite is not going to surprise you. It's black and white. It's a balance of colors. It's a really beautiful. They normally are sold tumbled. I don't think I've ever seen a rough howlite. They're sold tumbled usually. When I use these in a grid, it's seeking balance for someone, because this one means it can strengthen your memory. It facilitates communication. It eliminates stress. So if you get a thumb stone of howlite, which is a worry stone that you can rub your finger on, if you're a worrier, this stone will eliminate stress and help relieve pressure. It's a calming stone. It's a soothing stone, in keeping with the energy of the 2 to keep us calm and settle down. So that's the 2, and that's 2 times 2, because that's what I ended up having to do. I hope this makes the lady who wrote me in 3 times and said, you repeated the same thing. Like, yeah, I repeated the same show. I did not mean to create the same show. But this is sort of my summary of 2. And now, tomorrow, you're going to jump into 9, which no sense at all. But if you can rearrange them in your phone, you can pull them down that way. If you really have to go 1 to 9, you're kind of that sort of OCD. That's fine. Just do you. But anyway, I want to give you a heads up on the 2nd of February. I will be running a show with Dorothy Morgan, who's an NH astrologer. She's also on YouTube. She's very much a personal astrologer. She's not an events astrologer. She tries to teach you how to use your own chart to help yourself. And she's going to talk about one of the most fun things you can do, which is to use lunar phases to begin to understand astrology. It's one of the first things I ever did to learn astrology, was to follow the moon around my chart and see what it meant and how it worked. So I look forward to having you come back on the 2nd, if you don't come back before then, and visit with Dorothy and I. She's making a very generous offer to, if you go on my site that day, you'll be able to get a link to her and get a free natal chart that she will send you a paper copy of. So that's a whole lot going on right now, and I hope everyone survived the full moon and is moving onward to heading towards a new moon, which will be the 11th of February. And if you get into our thing on lunar phases, you'll understand how to use all that information, and it's lots of fun. And it's an easy thing to do, and you don't have to have a big 12-part chart or anything else, but it can help. Anyway, I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, and thank you for coming and visiting the garden today. Oh yeah, I keep forgetting to say this. Like, subscribe, and share. And if you have questions, please put them at the bottom, because I'm looking for questions again. And I will talk to you later.